Welcome to the Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
What's happening, Verno? Friday.
It is Friday. We've got to go through our loved and loathed from the week that was. One thing that has taken place since we last spoke is this NBA Cup is set. The Emirates Cup is set, and those teams are going to face each other. We got two games next Tuesday night, which of course we'll get to on our Monday or on our Tuesday show. But Bucks Magic, Dallas OKC, two good matchups.
Love them.
And the expectation is that Chris Middleton is going to be making his debut before that time.
This evening.
And then Trae Young versus the Knicks
in the Garden.
Golden State, Houston.
Trae Young coming back to the Garden in a win and you're in, losing you go home scenario. It's just the basketball gods have blessed us. They have blessed us. Oh, I love it. They scream F Trae. They chant F Trae Young at Yankees games. They chant F Trae Young when it's rush hour and the subway is delayed. Like it's just any sort of group gathering of people that live in the 5 boroughs of New York, an F Trae Young chant will break out. Like I think it happens at Thanksgiving dinners.
Would you say, in terms of you're in the city, if I were going to say like a current ranking of who New Yorkers hate, sports-wise?
Oh, sports-wise. Okay, that makes it easier. I was like, well, the mayor's not very popular right now.
You think he's there at the very top?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is probably number one.
Come on.
and then there's a certain owner for the Knicks.
Why? Is it because of his poor football play, or is it because he refuses to wear a mask everywhere?
Did you see the trailer for his documentary? Oh, it's everything you want. It's everything you want.
Oh, I can't wait.
He's like got like paint on his face, and they're blowing smoke in his face, and he's in like an ayahuasca circle. Like I really hope I get to watch Aaron Rodgers trip balls on ayahuasca on film. But that's neither here nor there. Yes, Trae Young he's the number one basketball villain, but it's also like it's a respectful, fun thing.
It's funny. This is the most New York thing ever. That I ask you who New Yorkers hate the most in sports, and your first three answers
starting quarterback
were players that play for New York teams.
Yes, and the owner of the Knicks he's high up there. But I'll say it's fun because I think it's like a mutual respect, and this is a little rivalry thing, and he really like plays into it and plays it up and does the bow after the game.
Oh,
yeah. He won last time. So it's honestly like more fun than like a heated rivalry. You know what I mean? Like a Yankees-Red Sox thing. It's more just like fun. Like I'm
it's
really
like a Broadway show.
Yeah. It's like
he's great
fun.
at being the villain. He's great at it.
Yes. And the Hawks are playing great right now, and we get to them later. That's the team I love this week.
Okay, well, let's get to the teams that we loved and loathed throughout the week, because I am going to start. This is perfect, actually. We said that these two teams are going to match up in the Emirates Cup. My love team is, of course, the New York Knicks, who earlier this week, Dave Jacoby said to me, the team that I like less than I expected to is his own beloved Knicks. They are now 14-8. They're third in the Eastern Conference. They have won 4 in a row. They have won 8 of their 10 games that they have played in Madison Square Garden. They are third in point differential in the East, behind only Cleveland and Boston. And it was one thing, like, they beat the Hornets, fine. They beat the Pelicans, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had this massive matchup where they were going to be playing against the Orlando Magic, as hot as any team has been in the entire NBA.
And the pressure of an Emirates NBA Cup game as well.
And they dropped 106 in the first 3 quarters of the game and were up by 30 before they lost the fourth quarter by 15, which made absolutely no difference.
No, it did. It did, because if the Magic lost by 37, they're out of the Cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I know
they
you don't
didn't
like
put their foot
stuff.
on the gas?
Yeah. No, so the Magic were like, we can't lose by 40 or else we're out of this thing. They must have called timeout at some point. But before you continue, Verno, I want to tell you a little story about that evening. Just a brief, personal aside. My wife back in like October is like, December 3rd, we're going out with my friends for dinner. And in October, I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm not cross-referencing it with the Emirates Cup schedule. You know what I mean? Like, it might as well be 2027. When it's October, you're like, December 3rd, mark this date. So we have to go out. It's this Tuesday when they have the game against the Magic. It's literally at 7:30. The game starts at 7:30. So we have a babysitter. My wife, we have 3 kids, and she's pregnant. Going to have a 4th kid. So I've got a pregnant wife. She's throwing up. So she's pregnant. She's throwing up. She doesn't feel well. She has to cancel the dinner. But we didn't cancel the babysitter because it was too late. So there I am at the house. My wife is sick in the back room. The kids, I get them PJs, get them fed. The babysitter's there. And I go into my wife's room. I say, Joey, the kids are all set. Do you need anything from me? Are you okay? She's like, no, I'm okay. I feel pretty good. I stopped puking. I was like, can I go to the Knicks game?
No.
The babysitter was there.
Wait.
So I left my pregnant, sick wife in the house to go to the Knicks game. Oh, she's the best. She doesn't listen to the Mismatch, so I can tell these stories. But yeah, that happened in real life. I went to the game.
What was her real response?
No, her real response. I may have did a little it's good for work. I did that thing. It's like, it's good for work.
What did the babysitter say?
Babysitter doesn't care. She's the best. Yeah, she's like 19 years old, and the kids are all set. And she's a sweetie. I was like, yeah, take care of Joey. She's like, I got it. Go ahead, go to the game. So I went to the Knicks. I was at the Magic Knicks game, and the Garden was rocking, and it was a perfect performance from the New York Knicks.
So did somebody have a ticket, or are you now trying to acquire tickets at that time?
Acquire a ticket via one of the ticket serving apps, which is an annoying experience because right before the game, they all kind of get scooped up. So I'd find one that I like, but then it would get scooped up. But I ended up having to download 17 apps, create 7 profiles, put in my credit card, $250.
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought you were going to say.
Well, the thing is, I didn't have a great seat, but I also didn't take my family. Because if I take the kids, that turns into $1,000. You know what I mean?
Oof.
Yeah. Bumped into some friends, had a couple adult beverages, came home after the games. Great experience.
So what did you think about watching them live?
I was perfect.
Did you fall back in love with the Knicks?
Oh, absolutely. My favorite team to watch in the league. Just think about this. Cat 23, Brunson 21, Hart 11, 13, and 10, Bridges 19, OG 18, Deuce McBride 18. It was a perfect Knicks game. Perfect game. And the only thing that could have been better is I'm sure you've seen the between the legs swing spin pass that Cat did from the top of the key to Bridges in the corner. You know what I'm talking about?
Two amazing highlights from that game. The unnecessary saucy pass.
Loved it.
But also the
ref stare down?
Banging into Mo Wagner, staring down the ref, and then turning around and hitting a fadeaway jumper.
A really good-looking turnaround jumper, too. It was honestly, I was worried about this game. That's kind of one of the reasons I went. I was straight up, I was concerned about them losing this game, and it was an absolute blowout. But continue.
He's averaging 25 and 13 and shooting 45% from 3, Towns is.
Is he really? Yeah. I mean, he was 52% from 3 a week ago, but that's insane. That's insane.
He's leading the league in rebounding.
And you're talking about the Kings and DeRozan and the fit there. And we brought it up before. We're always talking about these fits with these new guys. And Karl-Anthony Towns is just it seems like he's been on the team for 4 years.
The Knicks are my love, and I am so glad to hear that you have fallen back in love with them.
Yeah. I might have had to do some soul searching after Tuesday's pod.
This is going to be super fascinating because you have to build up the proper vitriol for Knicks Hawks next week, and I fear that you're about to say the Hawks.
You know that the team I love is the Hawks this week.
Oh, boy.
And they deserve it. 5 straight wins. This season, they've beaten the Cavs twice and the Celtics. And they did something last night against the Bucks, who had won 7 straight, who I do want to mention that we saw this coming, that we'd say, oh, the Bucks are right, the Bucks are back. But they had a nice little schedule there.
We called our shot on this. We if anybody listens to the Mismatch, we said a couple of weeks ago, they will fool us.
Yes.
Because we looked at that schedule and we said what was going to happen.
It's like Wizards, Pistons, and the Hawks game that's a winnable game. It's a winnable game, and the Hawks did something last night, which I was just so impressed by, and it was just swarming defense, not just Dyson Daniels doing it himself. I think Bogdanovich had a bunch of steals. They had 16 steals last night. I saw a clip because I was bopping around, so I didn't watch every possession of every game, but I saw a clip. I'll send it to you. Look it up if you're listening to this podcast. Trae Young closes out on 3 different three-point shooters at 3 different parts of the court, like one on the left wing, one in the corner, one on the right wing, in one possession. He's flying around on defense. I saw that as a kid. It popped up on like Reddit or like one of my algorithm or whatever, and I was like, let me see this. Like, this can't be real. It's real. They play great, and Jalen Johnson, who they just signed, that deal already looks like a steal. He's averaging 20, 10, and 5.5 assists. Remember when DeAndre Hunter was going to be DeAndre Hunter?
Oh, do I ever?
I think he might be DeAndre Hunter all of a sudden. Have you noticed that?
You like
DeAndre
this.
Hunter might be DeAndre Hunter. The Hawks are hot. They're coming into the Garden. This is a perfect storm.
Are you building them up?
Yes.
Just in preparation
really
for the Emirates Cup?
No. Preseason. If you listen to the Mismatch preseason, I like them, and I've been really impressed by Risa Shea. Daniels has come out of nowhere, and Jalen Johnson, everyone thought was going to have a great year, and he's having an even better year than everybody thought.
Do you have a sickness and babysitter booked for the Emirates Cup?
No, I can pull that off again. I'm going to poison my wife, my pregnant wife. Honey, why'd you book a babysitter for Tuesday? Just eat this. Just drink this shake I just made you.
I've got to go see my beloved Hawks. That's what you're going to tell her. I got to go see my beloved Hawks. All right. Let's go to the team. Loathed.
Yep.
All right. The team I loathe is, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers. Who else could it be?
I mean, come on.
40. I talked about it earlier this week. I talked about how Franz Wagner, we made the clip out of it, that after they lost 119 to 118 to the Orlando Magic, they then proceeded to lose to Denver by 25, to the Suns by 27. They beat the Spurs. Then they lost to OKC by 18. Then they beat Utah when Will Hardy called a timeout on Colin Sexton's game winner. Then Minnesota beat them by 29. I mean, they just have stayed getting their ass beat. And so it's like, okay, time to stop the bleeding. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Everything said that is needed to be said. I mean, look, Jacoby, the only thing that's left now is a players-only meeting. Because you had, after they got absolutely humiliated by Tyler Hero and the Miami Heat, you have LeBron James coming out and saying, it's not on the coaches, it's on us. And when he is asked by, I believe it was Dave McMenamin, a couple different times about what JJ said, he said, you don't have to tell me what JJ said. I agree with everything that JJ said. I agree with everything he said. You can bring up anything. If JJ said it, I agree with it. I agree with everything that JJ said. And so basically it's on the players. It's not on JJ Redick. But as the humiliation has continued, it's getting pretty bleak, man, when your response to getting your ass kicked for the last 2 weeks is to go get your ass kicked even worse.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really damning clips from that game. Because it was such a blowout. I started watching other games, but there's that one possession that's making the rounds where Duncan Robinson gets the ball underneath the hoop. It's like a wide open shooter sees Duncan Robinson wide open under the hoop. They kick it into Duncan Robinson. He's like, I don't like to shoot from here. And then he kicks it out to another wide open shooter. It's just like, honestly, it's ridiculous.
Not letting them off the hook on this, where we get to now we have to look at this situation different than every other situation that we ever look at in the NBA, okay? You don't get to say it's on the players, it's not on the coaches, I can't joystick this, They've got to compete. They've got to play hard. Jacoby, that's the job. That's the job. Okay? Stop acting. Then what do you do? What do you do? Because I can find a guy that can X and O's. The job is that they play. The job is that they play for you. And in fact, every year we fire coaches because teams don't play for them anymore. We watch them play and we say they don't have the motivation. They're not playing for it. There's got to be a change. But instead, in this particular situation, what we're saying is this isn't about the coaches. This is the players. I can't coach effort. Like, bro, that is the job. You could find a million guys that can X and O. In fact, most of these teams are not running some kind of complex schematic advantage.
It's a high pick and roll.
Yeah.
It's a high pick and roll. And then we work from there.
It's a kick out. Right? Yeah. So if they're not playing, then what is the job of the coach? If the job is not for them to play.
I think that's a great point. And I also just want to say this. This is the opposite of the Bucks. This is who the Lakers really are. Like that 9-4 start, they were beating up on bad teams, which is a thing that good teams do. But they've had a stretch where they're going against mediocre to good teams, and they're losing dramatically. This is who the Lakers are. We were fooled before by thinking that they were a good team or a playoff team. This is who they are.
And this is the thing. Look, the roster is not good enough. Let's set that aside. Okay,
they got no defenders.
Okay, look, with any team that is faltering, we blame two things. We blame the coach and we blame the best player. Those are the leaders of the team. Right now, everybody is giving, like, they're going to go to him and they're going to say, look, LeBron's playing hard and LeBron's having a good season. It's everybody else's fault. LeBron's going to say, JJ Redick, it's not his fault. It's everybody else's fault, right? Like, bro, they're not following you guys. That's the gig. That's the gig of the coach. That's the gig of the best player. If the rest of the team is not playing hard, or you don't think they're playing hard, it's because they are not accountable to you.
So I'm going to just pile on with the player that I loathe this week, and we'll get back to regularly scheduled programming because it's LeBron James. The player, and I'm a huge LeBron James guy. I'm a LeBron James stan, admittedly. But he's not the player I loathe this week because he missed 1 million threes in a row. Everyone's seen the stat. He missed 19 threes or whatever he did. And he scored 29 or whatever in that game against the Heat. Fine. The thing that I loathed about LeBron James this week, which is why I'm putting it here, because you so elegantly spoke about the leaders of the team being the leaders of the team, I saw the clip. Tyler Hero hit 7 threes in the third quarter. And I said to myself, because I didn't watch the game, they're down by 30. Like, I'm going to watch another game. And I click on that clip. In every single one of those makes from Tyler Hero, LeBron James is underneath the basket because he's hidden on defense against like Bam Adebayo or whoever he's covering. He's not running around. And every single time the ball goes through the hoop, LeBron James's body language is the exact same. Slumped shoulders, looking at the guy who contested the shot, throwing his arms up, like, how come you guys can't do better? And when you talk about the leadership, and it happens, watch this clip. I'll send it to you. It happens on the first shot, the second shot, the third shot, the fourth shot, the fifth shot, the sixth shot, and the seventh shot in the third quarter. It's the exact same. He sees the ball go through, and he slumps his shoulders, and he blames his teammates, and then he takes the ball out of bounds. It's the exact same thing on all 7 shots. And when you talk about leadership, and we talk about vibes, and we talk about which teams are having fun playing basketball. Of course, you're not going to have fun when you're down 30, but it wasn't we need to get it together. Let's really work hard to dig ourselves out of this hole. It was, what are you guys doing out there? You need to be better. That was his body language.
That's right. It feels like the best player and the coach probably go into the coach's office and bitch about the rest of them.
Yeah, that's what it does feel like. That's exactly what it feels like. And it felt like LeBron was standing under the basket because he doesn't play anybody on defense. And he was like, you guys need to be better. That's not my job. It's like, well, make it your job. It's frustrating. That was the player I loathed this week. Team I loathed this week.
Yep.
We'll pick up the pace here. Pun intended. I might just loathe this team because they beat the Knicks in the playoffs last year. But the Pacers are bad. Like, this team was in the Eastern Conference Finals like months ago. They lost to the Pistons, the Grizzlies, the Raptors, and the Nets. The Grizzlies are the only good team in there.
So we've thought about Halliburton a lot and this downtrend that he has had this year. So I saw them this past week, and I didn't mention it on Monday, but it was something that I thought as I was watching them. I felt like Halliburton is one of those guys that the ball is in his hands and he can make something happen, right? I thought he was off the ball a lot, and he is beyond useless off the ball. That's how I felt when I was watching it. I was like, what is he? He's not like he's cutting. It's not like he's setting a screen. It's not like he's a standstill, shooter, so you're kicking it out to him. It just felt very like there are a lot of possessions where he's not engaged in the same way that I felt like he was the total engine last year.
Oh, yeah. He led the league in assists.
Yeah.
I mean, he was right around this time last year. Now, granted, he got hurt. And I feel like those injuries, we're still feeling the repercussions of him getting back from those injuries. He's still the same human he was a year ago. I just don't think his body is the same a year ago. But last year, a year ago today, he was breakthrough star, 27 points, 15 assists, 5 rebounds, putting the team on his back, winning cup games. He has a game here and there where he'll score 30, but this is where he shot from 3 in those 4 losses. 1 for 7, 4 for 9, 2 for 9, 3 for 8. It's not good. There's something wrong.
These are the quotes. We haven't won a road game in over a month. I think as a group, I've got to be better. I think it's testing us right now. I can't give you a ton of positives. Maybe that's a negative way of viewing it right now. I just feel like as a group, we can get better in every aspect. The great thing is there's 82 games and we have about 60 more to figure it out, but there's got to be a sense of urgency. You can only say that so many times. As a group, I think we've got a lot of growing to do. If we don't do that, the league is going to, he said, there are times like right now, the league could either bury you or you can dig yourself out of the hole. And it said, then the article goes on and says, Indiana covered up a bottom 10 defense with an elite fast-paced offense a season ago. The defense, unsurprisingly, is still terrible, bottom 10, but their offense has slowed down. 15% of their offensive possessions start in transition, which is 16th in the league, which is down from a season ago where they were 7th in the league. So, I mean, they were flying up and down last year.
Last year, they're the number 1 in pace. That was the thing about them was the pace. Yep. It was like they can't play defense, but they're going to turn this into like 115 possessions per game, and they're just going to offense them with their way to wins. And they did it successfully. They're 8th in pace this year. They were breaking pace records last year. And I think a lot of it is Halliburton, and I'm of the mind that he is not right. Like, he just doesn't seem right based on what I saw last year around this time before he got hurt. That's the team I love. Let's get back to positivity, Verno. Who's the player you love?
Vucci Main. Nikola Vucevic. There are 2 players in the NBA that are averaging 20 and 10 and making 2 threes a game while shooting 55% from the field and 45% from 3. They are Nikola Jokic and Mr. Vucevic. Over the last 3 games, 31 points per game, 10 rebounds, 71% from the field, 55% from 3. For the season, he's got like career highs in most of his statistics, but he is averaging 22 and 10 and shooting 47% from 3. Jeez. He's playing for the Bulls right now.
Now.
Yeah, right now. But, man, if there was ever a debut for you to be able to get to another team, he's 34 years old too.
It's a good point. Who would you rather build a team around, Jokic or Vucevic?
Stop. Look, I'm giving the guy credit while I can. He has been absolutely offensively unbelievable and exactly what you want offensively as a center right now, with the guy with the ability to make threes like he does and space out the floor like he does. If he does get moved, he could be a key cog for somebody.
And he can score around the basket too. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. If you don't have a big, if you don't have a big, like the Spurs had to play without Wemby earlier this week, or even look, the game he had against Boston was a monster game. If you don't have somebody big to go up against him, he'll torch you. And so I got to give it credit. This has been a great week that has highlighted the great season he has had thus far.
Player I love this week only competed in one single NBA contest this week.
Okay.
And it was last night. Coming back from injury. The team's been decimated by injuries. Going up against the Suns, also injured themselves. No Nurkic, no Durant, no Dunn. But this is Brandon Ingram. He's been on the trade block for 3 years. Seriously. Name a team that's not been in a Brandon Ingram rumor in the National Basketball Association. And he came back, and like we talk about, some guys come back and look ready, and some guys don't. And Brandon Ingram just gets to his spot, man. When it is right with Ingram, it looks unstoppable. It's very Kevin Durant-ish. When he gets to his 15-footer, he gets one dribble into you, you're on your heels, and he just rises up. He releases the ball 9 feet in the air, and when he's got his touch going and his shot going, it just looks unstoppable, as it did last night against the Suns. They had no answer for him. He was just hitting 15-footers, fadeaways, turnarounds, and in the third quarter, there's a 36-second run where he hit 3 threes. Just absolutely on fire. He offensively played really, really well against, admittedly, without Durant, a Suns team that really doesn't have an answer for him. There's a lot of O'Neal on him. And it's just like, they just didn't really have an answer for his size and offensive talent. But I think the story of Ingram is, what team is he going to get traded to always? And for him to come to a team that had lost 9 straight games and to put the team on his back and get them a win over a decimated Suns team, but still a game that they were not favored to win. I just thought it was great. To put the little cherry on top of what I love about Brandon Ingram Sunday is, after the game, he said, it was great to have Herb Jones back. He's the heart and soul of the team. You know, they did the little dual interview, and he didn't, he was like, hey, it was great to be back. I felt good out there. It was Herb Jones is our guy. He's the heart and soul of the team. It's great to have him back. And I love that about him too. Great day for Brandon Ingram and whatever team is trying to trade for Brandon Ingram.
The other thing that is positive about Ingram is, in this league where everybody is just lay it up or tray it up, he is one of the very few. That's not how I play.
But it is weird. Like, the guys that do shoot a high volume of mid-range shots are, like, I don't know, 5 of the top 15 scorers in the league.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, like, this guy, it's almost like a throwback, because he's not going to take 12 threes in a game, and he's not driving to the basket and going to the line 100 times in the game.
No.
When he has his big games and he scores, it is in a different method than 99% of his peers.
Yeah. And it works. Yeah. And it's always been that way. And you know it. You cannot stop it. When he pulls up from like 13 feet, it's a layup.
You already did the player that you loathed.
Yeah. LeBron James.
Yeah. So I'm just going to mention, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm not sure if he's number one on the players I hate watching the most.
Oh, wow.
Great. But he might be. I cannot stand DeAndre Ayton. I can't stand it.
That's a good one.
He might as well play basketball with AirPods in. I really feel like he's just on a jog. And because he's 7 foot tall, he gets his requisite. He's going to get some points, and he's going to get some rebounds. But it is the most low-T basketball that you could possibly play. He never passes. He never blocks a shot. He never gets a steal.
You ever seen him hit the floor
it just drives
intentionally?
Me. Yes. He is the epitome of TFN, tall for nothing. You know, when we were kids, and there would be a kid that there would always be somebody yelling in the crowd. If there was just some tall kid that was out there, there'd be somebody yelling in the crowd, TFN, TFN. That's who he is. He's been TFN forever. And I know people, he even brought that up when he cared for like 6 months in Phoenix because he was just tired of Chris Paul telling him he's a P word. He would say that, you know, people used to say TFN to me when I was playing, you know? And like now he is the epitome. And I went and looked, and every once in a while I look at the standing because, forgive me, I'm not watching Portland unless unless you made me and held my eyeballs open, I probably wouldn't watch them unless they're the only close thing on.
That's
but
what
I
happens.
swear to God,
it's like the Mavs game a couple weeks ago. It's like, oh, it's in the fourth quarter. There's 3 minutes left, and it's a close game. Like, all right, I'm in. But I'm not watching all 4 quarters of a Portland game.
And then every once in a while, I'll look at the standings, and I'll be like, how the hell do they have 8 wins? Like, I've seen them twice, and it was, I mean, an abomination before the eyes of God and man. And I look at them, and I'm like, how do they have 8 wins? And then I go and look, I'll be like, oh, DeAndre Ayton hasn't played in half of them. Of course.
I mean,
like their only wins with DeAndre Ayton are like Pelicans wins and, you know, other bozo wins.
The Suns were up in the finals 2-0 on the Bucks, right? That was a real thing that happened in real life.
Oh, yeah.
And do you remember the DeAndre Ayton narrative around that time?
Yes.
This was not that long ago.
No.
This is not that long ago. When the Suns are up 2-0 in the finals, we're already talking about Chris Paul's first ring and the player comps that DeAndre Ayton was getting on the airwaves.
Oh, I know.
Were wild. We're wild. And it was like, we should have all known. There was enough smoke coming out of Phoenix about his work ethic, about his attitude, about the dinners that he had with the owner. And there was just enough out there that we should have known that this is who DeAndre Ayton is. TFN, low T, AirPods in.
I just watched the other night, was it Tuesday night during the Emirates Cup? I'm watching Memphis versus Dallas. And you watch Derek Lively, and then you watch DeAndre Ayton.
Oh.
And it's like, here's a guy that is making the absolute most of being a genetic freak of nature. Derek Lively tries to rip the rim off of the backboard every time. Every time.
It's almost like they're like, we're going to put Gafford back in unless you go 110%. He's like, yes, sir.
I feel like he's just constantly sprinting. He is constantly jumping. And every time he gets the opportunity, he tries to rip the rim off the hinges. It's great. Mm-hmm. I love him. Absolutely love him. And you can't believe it's like, bro, that could be you. You just got low T.
Low T. I think let's send him like a little package. I'll go to GNC later. We'll send it over. We'll send it over there. Thing I love this week.
We might be the only sports podcast not sponsored by.
by testosterone
I
package?
think we just both have too high T.
We all have that one guy in the friend group.
It wouldn't be believable.
Every friend group in the late 30s or 40s has that one guy that does the T, and he's like, bro, let me tell you, I go to the gym 3 times a day. I'm growing hair out of my earballs. It's like, what?
I guess it just wouldn't be believable. I'm too aggressive, and you won't stop humping. You got like another kid on the way. Good grief, bro. You need to stop. You need to slow down.
My wife's never touching me again after going to that Knicks game. After that Knicks game, there's been a pattern of behavior from OG Anunoby that has been recognized and brought to the forefront. And it involves my guy, Alan Hahn, former colleague of mine, great guy. And let's just play the sound of the post-game interview with OG Anunoby that gets interrupted.
OG, you look like you were having a lot of fun out there. We don't often get to see you smile much, but in that third quarter, the smile was out. What was working for you in that third quarter?
Winning is fun, so when we're playing good.
I knew this was going to be an adventure. It always is. Next time, we're going to get you your own mic, I promise.
So that is Karl Anthony Towns telling him to stop grabbing the mic because he always grabs the mic. Like this happens
it's
a lot.
viral. It's gone viral.
This happens a lot in UFC fights. It's one of my favorite subplots after every UFC fight where there's the guy in the middle of the ring. Sometimes it's Joe Rogan, whoever else it is. And the fighter always wants to grab the mic. And you've been taught ever since you start in broadcasting, never give up the microphone to the interviewee. It's not going to go well. That is the only power that you have of any control over anything. And OG just keeps grabbing the mic from Alan Hahn over and over again. I love it. That was the thing I loved this week.
The thing that I loved is, as a massive NBA fan, but also someone in the media that covers the league, you know that you're always on alert. And nowadays, we have the ability to set notifications for when news breakers are breaking news, and so things will then come to my phone. So I have one. Obviously, Adrian Wojnarowski's now, if I get those alerts, it's about St. Bonaventure, and I haven't taken him off because I love Woj.
Well, also, we have to recognize the news. Woj announced that he has prostate cancer, which is a real thing. And he said that he brought that out to the public to sort of raise awareness and to get people, men, especially in late 30s and 40s, to get checked. So shout to Woj. We're with you.
And obviously our thoughts are with him. I still have his alert on. I'm not getting rid of it. And then the other one I have is obviously Shams Charania, who is the preeminent NBA newsbreaker in the NBA. So there will be times where I'm out and about or I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and I'll look down at my phone and it'll pop up the little thing and it says Shams Charania. I'm like, oh, what happened? Here comes news. So I open it and it says, Paul Millsap has announced his retirement. I'm like, what? Okay. When is the last time you thought about Paul Millsap?
I mean, God.
I don't think this is allowed. I don't think you can announce your retirement 3 years after anybody has thought about it.
Was he last on the Hawks? What is he last on the Hawks?
I actually did this on my local show yesterday where Devin asked us who is the last team that Paul Millsap played for, and we named, I'm not kidding you, 20 teams, Jacoby.
So let's not do that now.
Before we landed on the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember him in a Sixers uniform.
He was part of the James Harden trade, I believe. I don't. Again, I just thought that. Look, this is the thing I loved because I audibly laughed when I opened up the alert. I thought it was like a goof. Like, what do you mean? Like, was anybody sitting around waiting for the Paul Millsap?
I also want to know how this works.
Why is this a thing?
Shams gets a text from an agent, and he's like, I want you to announce that Paul Millsap is retired. And Shams is like, yeah, I don't know if that's news. And the agent's like, listen, if you ever want to get a scoop from me again, you're going to announce that Paul Millsap is retired. Shams is like, all right, got it. I understand the assignment.
Yeah, well, that makes look, at least you're coming up with a reasonable theory, because for sure when I read it, I was like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Who is this for?
GMs around the league that had him on their board, just like Jay Crowder, Elfrid Payton, Paul Millsap.
We just wanted to be clear. He was done for the last 2 years, but also he hasn't played in 2 years. But we just want to make it clear. He's officially done. He's not playing any more bats. So don't even
stop
call.
Calling. Stop calling.
Hey, don't even think about calling Paul Millsap.
Phone was ringing off the hook. He wanted none of it. I'm out.
I am officially retired.
It's Megatron, Barry Sanders, and Paul Millsap retired at their peak.
I'm not sure that I needed it to be official.
Did you see that Elfrid Payton is no longer on the Pelicans? 21 assists last week.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Someone pick him up. 21 assists. If you can get 21 assists in an NBA game, you should be on our roster.
Maybe he ends up back with the Knicks.
Oh, wow. I think, yeah, we were not very deep. You're going to have to do the thing that you loathe this week first because mine has to go last. Because
again, I'm not gonna belabor this because I've bitched about it throughout the year. It's deja vu all over again, and this week was a perfect highlight of it. We went through this last year, and maybe it is in conjunction with the last year in-season tournament. Now it's Emirates Cup, where there is a heightened awareness, but also a heightened level of competition. But this was a disastrous week for officials. I watched Dallas take 26 free throws in a quarter.
In a quarter?
In the fourth quarter.
That's like a 3-hour game.
Against Chris. Look, I have watched 2 games. The last 2 Memphis games, the fourth quarter at Dallas took 42 minutes. The fourth quarter last night against the Kings took 39 minutes.
What?
It's a 12-minute quarter. These games now, you have seen Tari Eason, Alperen Şengün, Ime Udoka all get fined.
Yep.
And
Tari like trying to get after a fan or something. I don't know what.
Yeah, you saw the Warriors freak out earlier this week, and Steve Kerr blow a gasket earlier this week.
You're allowed to say John Morant. You're allowed to. That Morant call. They already came out and said that wasn't a foul.
I saw him ejected last night. It's the interactions between the coaches and so last night, to wit, there were 21 fouls, 12 free throws, and 4 reviews in the fourth quarter.
Oh my God.
At the game I was at. I mean, it's unwatchable. It's truly unwatchable. I can't get over it. And then the interactions, the refs have gotten continuously worse as the season has gone on, which has made the coaches matter, which has made the players matter. And then the refs, they don't deal with it well. And so now I'm telling you, look, I hope it was not because they needed to sign an $11 billion TV contract last year. And so they said, hey, we need to make this product more watchable, because they obviously had a powwow right around All-Star time and said, hey, people would actually like to watch these guys run up and down the court and play basketball. Like last night, you could have made a choice to watch Wicked, which is 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It's a hostage situation. That movie is way too long. Way too long.
Or you could have watched Grizzlies Kings. Again, both
way too long. Yes.
But look, it was highlighted this week. Maybe it was because it was heightened because of the Emirates Cup, and so people are even a little more fired up. But there should never be more fouls than minutes in the game. There should never be more free throws than minutes in the game, and it's going that direction. And we did this last year, and then we had to free things up, and everybody that's a basketball fan started to love it more. They were allowing teams to play basketball, to run up and down the court and play basketball instead of have free throw shooting contests and foul fests.
I didn't hear anything you just said because I can't decide if John Morant is more a Falba or Glinda.
Elphaba. Come on.
Elphaba?
How dare you?
I was asleep for half that movie. That was too long. Stop.
I saw it. I have not seen the movie. I will say, rave reviews from the girls in my house. My wife loved it. My daughter loved it. I saw it on Broadway, and I loved it. You're not a fan.
I liked it. I liked the world. I liked the world that I was in. I was just there too long.
Did your daughters and wife love it?
Yeah, but they kept pump faking the ending.
Don't give it away.
Oh, God. Well, the thing I loathe this week is honestly myself. Not just because I'm a terrible husband. But that's just one of the reasons. The thing I loathe this week, to take a page out of your book, is myself because I think you're going to have to sign off after this.
Uh-oh.
This is so funny.
Didn't need to. Wow. Oh, great anticipation on Wiggins. They tried to go backdoor with Dick. Wiggins sniffed it out.
Sign off.
Come on.
Sniffed it out.
We'll be back next week.
Maybe.